go over problem 43 from section 3.2, page 194. The problem read, Hector Hanna will purchase one of two laser printers, a Hewlett-Packard HP or a Lexmark. The HP costs $499 and the Lexmark costs $419. So the HP is $499, Lexmark's $419. Suppose, because of the price of the ink cartridges, the cost of printing a page on the HP is 6 cents per page, and the cost of printing a page on the Lexmark is 8 cents per page. How many pages would need to be printed for the two printers to have the same total cost? So when I look at this problem, the question asks how many pages would need to be printed for the two printers to have the same total cost. Well, the number of pages printed is what I'm looking for, so that's how I'll start the problem, by setting up my variable. So I can let P equal number of pages. Okay. If P is my number of pages, now I'm ready to set up a comparison. They want to know how many pages needed for the two printers to have the same total cost. So I want the HP cost to be equal to the Lexmark cost. So that's how I'm kind of thinking when I'm setting up my equation. So the HP cost will be its initial cost of $499 plus every time I print a page it costs me 6 cents. So the amount I pay on printing is 6 cents times the number of pages I print, P. So if I printed one page, I'd add 1 times 6 cents, 2 pages, 2 times 6 cents, 3 pages, 3 times 6 cents, and so on. For the Lexmark, its total cost will be its original cost, $419, plus the cost depending on how many pages have been printed, and it is charging 8 cents per page, or it costs 8 cents per page. So I have 8 cents times the number of pages. So my question is, when will those two costs be the same? For what number of pages are those two sides of the equation equal? So I have an equation now that I can solve, and I have P terms on both sides, so I'm going to eliminate the P's on one. I have a smaller number of P's on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 0.6 P from each side. So I get 499 equals 419 plus 0.02 P. Now I have my P term isolated on the right. Well, excuse me, it's not isolated, but I have a P term only on the right. So to isolate that, I will eliminate this constant term by subtracting it. I end up with 80 equals 0.02 P. And the last step of that equation, excuse me, I've lost my work. There we go. The last step from the equation would be to eliminate that coefficient by dividing both sides by 0.02. And I would get P equals 4,000. So the question asks how many pages would need to be printed. So the answer that I'm looking for is 4,000 pages. That is how many pages need to be printed for the two printers to have the same cost. If I wanted to do a similar problem to practice, take a moment and read problem 1 on page 194, problem number 44, the very next problem. It's very similar to the one we just did, so it would be a great one to practice. So take a moment, read it, and see if you could set that one up. And then look back to the video, and I will set it up here. All right, so the problem has said Sean Stewart is deciding whether to select a satellite receiver or cable for his television programming. The satellite receiver costs $298.90, and the monthly charge is $68.70. So I've written that down here. With cable, there's no initial cost to purchase equipment, but the monthly charge for comparable channels is $74.80. So no initial charge, $74.80. They want to know, after how many months will the total cost of the two systems be equal? A very similar problem. You have two things we're comparing. They both have a monthly charge, and we're going to see when the two sides are equal. So to set up our variable, We're asking how many months till they're equal, so I could let my variable, maybe I'll have m in this case, be the number of months. If you haven't gone ahead and tried to set up your equation, maybe pause the video for a minute and see if you could set that up. So I'm going to set up my two different options. I have the satellite on one side and I have the cable on the other, and I'm trying to set the cost for those equal. So for the satellite, it costs $298.90 plus $68.70 per month, and if I have m months, I'd times it by the number of months to find the total cost. For the cable, there's no initial fee, but I have the $74.80 a month, so I have the 74.80 m. Okay. At this point, I have m terms on both sides, so to solve it, I'd need to remove the m term on the left-hand side. I could do that by subtracting it, and do the same thing to both sides. So now I have to do that little problem, use my calculator, and have 74.80 minus 68.70, 6.1 m equals, on the left-hand side I'm left with 298.90, and then the last step is divide by the coefficient, by both sides by 6.1, so 298.90. I get 49. So I look back, sorry about that, I keep missing my last step. 49 when I divide that out. So I look back to my question. It asks after how many months will the total systems be equal? M is number of months, so it was 49, so my answer will be 49 months.